Scott Talks. Out for a bike ride. Today we're talking about the big 8 streaming services. Which ones should you have in the fall of 2025? Well, you probably noticed that it's October 2025 right now, so it's fall. And I'm getting a little drizzle. It rained on here in Florida. Anyway, it's Florida. It happens. 10 minutes, the weather will change completely. Of course, we've got a lot of clouds. The big 8 streaming services, if you don't know what they are, they're Netflix, HBO Max, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Prime Video. Now you should be focused on rotating these services. Those are 4, and I would wait for winter on those services when the networks kind of cut back on their stuff. The big ones to have right now, most people have 3 or 4 streaming services they pay for. I mean, you can have Pluto TV and Tubi and the Roku channel and FilmRise and Plex and those guys, or Xumo Play, but they're free and they have commercials and they're great to have because they'll, you got something to watch that doesn't cost you anything. Some of you have the network stuff in October starts. Everyone wants to check out those network shows, and sometimes those network shows run 20 some episodes. And you get a streaming service and you get House of the Dragon on HBO Max, and you get 8 episodes, you're a lucky guy. You just had Wednesday, I think it wrapped up with 8 episodes on Netflix, and that was kind of must-have entertainment for Netflix. And then we're all guilty of it. We all get a streaming service just to watch one show, when we could have bought the whole season somewhere. But right now, it's fall. It's 2025. Most people have 3 or 4 streaming services because you have too many. You can't watch everything. I mean, you can hit the highlights of everybody, all 8. But the other 4, Paramount Plus is your CBS, which is the #1 network in the United States. You've got your Disney Hulu, always combine those. Disney Hulu is, because they're merging anyway, and in Europe they're already merged completely. So Disney Hulu has the ABC and the Fox content. So you got that. ABC's #2 network in the United States. And Peacock has NBC, which is #3 network in the United States, and not a lot of people watching that. Maybe a few shows, Chicago, Voice, things like that. You're probably got a few shows you watch. And they had a couple good original shows like Poker Face and Day of the Jackal was great. But you can't count. You don't need it all year. But I got mine all year from Black Friday. Got it for $20 all year. Can't beat it. So we have Peacock all year, and we always get Paramount Plus all year, and we get it with Walmart Plus. Now, that's the thing you need to ask yourself. Am I going to get 3 services and pay for them and count it? Or do I have Amazon Prime Video, so I get free Amazon Prime Video with my Prime shipping, so I don't really pay for the streaming service? I'm getting the shipping because I got to order stuff. You go to the store, you can't find it. You're sitting there in the store, you get your Amazon app out or your Walmart Plus app out, and you're ordering, and you're like, there it is. It'll be at the house in a day or so, or a couple days. Save a little more money, get some points, let it be a couple more days. And you don't count the streaming services, right? Probably. If you got Paramount Plus, you have a choice now. It used to be Walmart Plus. You get a choice of Paramount Plus for 3 months and Peacock for 3 months, or you can just keep Paramount Plus the whole time, which I would do. But if you got something, if winter shows up and they start dropping shows, they're like, oh, but you have to wait after 3 months. You have to time it just right if you're doing that. But Peacock, you can get it for a month and catch up, in the summer or something like that. But yeah, winter, you'll notice if you go online and check, when's this show air? When's this show air? Different networks have they get into winter and they cut it off, or they get it close to Christmas and cut it off, and then you don't see them again until February or something like that. So there's going to be a gap in network stuff, most likely, and they'll wrap up in May. Usually May, the end of May, they're done. Something like that. Get the Just Watch app, the Internet Movie Database app, Next Episode app, things like that. Google it. Just ask Google, and you'll figure out when your show's playing and what, how far along go. Right now, you're probably only going to get updates for several weeks heading into fall, November. They're not going to give you the details of January, maybe even all the way to December. They may not give you details. you may have to keep checking in and seeing how far it'll go, and then check in to see when they start again in January, February, whenever they stop. You know, if they stop in November, right before Thanksgiving, then they might pick up again in January. But if they stop late December, they might not pick up till February. So you got time to explore other content. Apple TV Plus is great content. Great. They spend tons of, Apple's got unlimited funds. So they get the best directors, best stars, best writers. There's tons of stuff on Apple TV Plus you haven't seen. If you've never seen it, it's not just going to be Ted Lasso, The Morning Show, Severance, different things like that, Shrinking, The Studio. Oh my gosh, The Studio is so funny. And movies, Tom Hanks in Greyhound. Probably never saw that at the theater, did you? Chief of War with Jason Momoa. He was in the show C on Apple TV Plus when it premiered. And now he's in Chief of War. And if you saw Shogun on HULU, you saw a great miniseries that won all the awards. Well, this is kind of like Shogun, but in Hawaii. Okay? That's what it is. Anyway, so pick your 3 or 4 streaming services if you're going to get that many. You don't have to get them, but I like to get them like at the beginning of the month and cancel. That reminds me to cancel before the end of the month. And you should still get your 30 days. So don't worry about that. But yeah, we can see our waterfall. So that's how you budget. You could literally get the big 8. And those are the big 8. Those are the ones most people get. And little Peacock is at the bottom of the 8. I can tell you that. But most people get it. And yes, there's cheating going on. And I have cheated before when, you know, Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon premiered, and you look it up and you're like, when are the last 3 episodes? Because I don't want spoilers on YouTube. YouTube's the #1 app you should have. First place you go, YouTube. We go in our house first place. And it's more popular than Netflix. And it's free. So you gotta have that. And you can get everything. Local news, weather. You can get how-tos, do this, how-to do that. Just movies, TV shows, just have ads, that's all. You can rent things, I think, through there and all this other stuff. YouTube's crazy popular. But, so then you keep it all year round because it's free. So, yeah, just enjoy your streaming. You know, if you're a streaming person, if you just do Netflix and just check out all those shows, great. But if you ever get to the day where you're channel surfing Netflix going, I've seen everything. I've seen K-pop Demon Hunters. Now, what else is there? Wednesday's over. You know, Stranger Things. I got to check that out. Yeah, of course. But, you know, like you're running out of options, you know, because Netflix throws a lot of stuff at the fan and hope it sticks. And they just exploded with K-pop Demon Hunters. I was like, oh my gosh. They found a winner there. So, that's the deal. Getting paid for what you have time to watch. If you're not watching it, you can cancel it and use my formula. Scott Talks. Subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. If you learned anything, that. Oh, grit. Riding the bike. And share the video with someone that you know and say, hey, this is how you do streaming. You don't need to subscribe to 8 services. If you can afford it, it's no big deal. Or 10 services or 12 services. But, you know, whatever you do, because we all have these weird subscriptions. I've got Audible for my audiobooks. This is bone conducting headphones. I was riding those, but I'm not listening to the books while I ride the bike. I listen to that when I'm at home, working, gardening, and doing things that are quiet, walking. I need to stay less focused because in audiobooks I stay too focused, so I can't be riding the bike with that focus. But I can listen to podcasts. I can listen to music. I got music playing from Spotify right now. Spotify's the #1 music app with Apple Music right there behind them. They're both great. And if you get Prime Video, you get a medium grade music service from Amazon. So you can listen to music through that, free. You know, you just have some ads. You'll be all right. So, just like cable. Everyone's like, oh, I like cable. Well, good. You enjoy your ads. You can get ad versions of all these streaming services, except Apple. Right now, Apple is still ad free, which is great. Enjoy it while you can. I mean, you know, one day they will. One day they will. But right now, it's ad-free. Enjoy all those shows on Apple. You know, if you're like, I want to go to bed in about 20 minutes instead of 30 minutes. What's one of those 30-minute shows on Apple that I can watch? I know it doesn't have ads, so it'd probably be less than 30 minutes. You know, they may not be. Streaming, they just pick, they're not restricted to how many minutes a show runs. You know, they run as long as it feels right for the script. But yeah, get what streaming services you want. I recommend Paramount because it's the #1 network and it's got the most good shows. But if you enjoy more of the ABC shows, great. And if you enjoy Chicago, all the Chicago shows and The Voice and stuff like that, all those shows, great. That's great. And the CW app is free. You can watch CW Network. Not much on there anymore, but once the Arrowverse disappeared, that's about it. You know, a lot of older shows. But if you hadn't seen those older shows, they're new to you, baby. They're must watch. And they've got a show from Canada, Wild Cards. We watched that. And Sherlock and Daughter, it was okay. It was good. It was a good distraction. We watched that. That was all right. So, and that's coming back, I think. So, good for both of those shows. So that gives you some CW stuff to watch. It's new to you. So, like, share, and subscribe. This is fall. Get some network streaming services. You can cancel Netflix and fill up on network stuff. You know, you got tons of stuff to watch. I mean, CBS canceled very few shows. Apple canceled very few shows, I believe. And ABC canceled only a couple shows, and NBC canceled probably a lot of shows. But that's just the way it rolls. So pick your streaming services on your whatever budget you got. If you have 0 paid streaming services, just keep getting Plex and Pluto TV and Tubi and YouTube and eat, drink, and sleep that, and then that's it. You know, tell the streaming companies, hey, I can't afford you. That's all right. You can do that. But if something comes on and all your friends are talking about the next House of the Dragon, you're like, I'll get HBO Max, but I'll get it for the last 3 weeks. The 3 weeks, you get it, and that way gives you one more week just in case you screw up and you couldn't binge watch those first few episodes, and then you hit them week by week, and then you got another week to clear. That's how you do it. Bye.